channel is sponsored by Great Bay Outfitters. Great Bay Outfitters is a waterfront kayak shop located near Great Bay. They are New Jersey's #1 volume dealer of Old Town kayaks. Great Bay Outfitters specializes in fishing kayaks and offers demos, rentals, repair, rigging, and a full assortment of PFDs, dry suits, motors, paddles, and accessories from many major brands. What is up, everyone? Today is my first Sheepshead trip of 2025. Probably the latest I've ever gotten a start on them, but life happens and sometimes you don't get to get out and fish. But hopefully we'll be able to make something of today. There are some storms rolling through in the next few hours, so stay tuned. Let me show you what I'll be using. All right, so bait of choice right now, Fiddler crabs. Learned my lesson by putting them in a tin with a lid. I also dug up some Asian shore crabs, some mud crabs, and just in case, you can never have enough bait, got frozen sand fleas, I think, under my seat. So that'll be my last ditch. Nothing else is working bait, but for right now, I'm gonna start with a Fiddler. I'm just gonna hook them through. Just leave them like that. All right, gonna start right here. See if anybody's home. See how long it takes to get back into the swing of things. It has been easily a month and a half since I've been out fishing. Just haven't had the time with family and work, but now I'm starting to get a few hours free that I could get a line wet. There we go. What did I hook? Feels kind of toggish. Could be wrong though. And no, sheep. Heck yeah. Little sheep. All right, so that is the first official sheep of 2025. No monster. In fact, if we were keeping fish today, that would be the size to keep right there. That's beautiful young sheepshead, man. All right, let's get this guy back in the water. First sheep. All right, no skunk. So I don't know if I caught it on camera, but right before that fish hit, something came up on the surface. I think it was a sheepshead. Like, I think it was just beneath the surface of the piling to my right. I don't think it was the same fish because, interesting enough, after that splash is when I started to feel the hit. So, see if there's more fish sitting on that piling. So, maybe not as rusty as I thought I was going to be. That literally was the first hit we had all day. And we're about, I don't know, 10 minutes into being on the water. So 1 for 1. It's not a bad ratio so far. Yeah, something definitely was on that piling right there. Could have been a bass, honestly, because there's some spearing that are kind of swimming along these pilings. And I know I marked some bass on my way out here, but I'm gonna kind of let them slide for the day since main focus is just sheepshead right now. Wonder what that is. A bizarre looking thing in the water. Kind of looks like a bug. Wind's kind of blowing me off. Let me readjust. There we go. What do we got? tog, I think. I think this one's a tog for sure. No, sheep. Wow. Ah, lost them at the boat. Well, that's interesting. That was a sheep. I thought two sheep. Well, although I wouldn't consider that one caught because lost them at the surface, but interesting. That one fought exactly like a tog, like with the side-to-side head shakes. It's interesting. So I'm trying something a little bit different. I'm dropping ahead of the structure and letting it kind of drift past it, if that makes sense. Like I'm seeing marks pretty tight to the bottom, maybe 5 feet off the bottom, which I thought were stripers, but I think it could be sheep. Literally had the biggest hit all day and my camera decided to die. While trying to reload a battery, this fish took off. Definitely a nicer size fish, and I don't want to horse him. Man, dude, if I wish I captured the initial strike, man, it about ripped the rod out of my arm. And this is a sheep. It's a nice one. I mean, probably missed a good 20 plus yards of line getting peeled on the hook set. Could be a striper, but I don't know. My guess is sheep. I guess I'm hopeful it's a sheep. That'd be a nice sheepshead. Oh yeah, it's a big sheep. Holy smokes. At least I know what it was. Nothing in my opinion is worse than not seeing the fish that you have hooked. Look at this thing. Holy smokes. Look at that monster. That's a nice sheepshead. Don't usually measure them, but I'm gonna keep them in the water, get a quick measurement, and then we'll let this fella go. Just to get my bearings on how big or small, I guess, this fish is. Oh, look at that. Spit the hook after I netted him. Oh, let's see what we got here. All right, so 24.5 inches. That's not a bad size sheep. All right, let's get this big fella back in the water. There he goes. That's the nice thing, man. They are a hardy fish. Oh man, my reel was open. So I'm probably got like hundreds of yards of line out. And go figure, I did remember my net this time. The last time I went fishing like a bozo, I forgot it at home. Probably lost 2 or 3 fish right at the kayak that I probably would have had if I had a net. But what do they say? You live and learn. So in the 5 years I've been doing this channel, I've only used GoPros, and I'll tell you what, I've probably blown through realistically 5 or 6 cameras, one of which I dropped overboard, or actually over as land fishing on a bridge. But the others though, I had like technical issues, and I guess you can probably say that maybe 50% of the issue is me beating them up you know, 100+ days of the year. You know, I'm not the most gentle when it comes to stuff like that, but I seem to have like just the most annoying issues with them. Like, I'll be honest, there's many days I've lost worth of film because of like the formatting, you know, was corrupt, or you know, what you name the issue. And go figure, I press record on that last fish, and I usually hear the beep, nothing happened. I'm thinking, what happened? You know, take the battery out, reset it. At that point, I'm trying to wrestle that last fish, but I hope the footage actually came through, because I've had, I'm telling you, nightmares of like really good days of fishing that something went wrong with the camera and literally lost the footage, or you know, vice versa, it recorded in the wrong format. But man, I'll tell you what, that last fish absolutely slammed it. I was sitting just like this, and I thought the way it hit felt like a striper, honestly, because they don't hold back when they grab the jig. And typically sheep don't either, but that's the third sheep I've had today, and the first two were more of like a kind of finicky hit. Wasn't like a slam the rod out of your hand type hit. I'm gonna try dropping on this piling right here. And that last fish was a nice fish, but still not even close to my PB. And I've also thought of the dilemma, if I ever caught like a, you know, 29+ inch sheepshead that could possibly be a state record, I don't think I would be able to kill it, or at least I don't think I'd be able to, you know, take it and weigh it in, because fish like that, man, so old, majestic, you know, spawner or breeder. If I was in my boat and I had a way of keeping it alive, I probably would try to, but kayak, not a shot. That thing would die before I got to my truck. So I think there's some stripers right here, so I'm gonna throw a sand flea on, and I'm gonna try and drift off of it. At least I think they're stripers. They could be sheep, honestly, but the marks kind of look indicative of a striper. And I'm gonna try and drift back slowly, kind of like naturally, like a crab floating in the water column. So I'm gonna drop it right about here and just let it drift. I'll let the tide slowly push me back. I think those are stripers. Those marks are like 15-20 feet down. We'll know within 10 yards or so, because if they're stripers and they're feeding, they'll definitely hit that sand flea. Oh, there it is. There it is. Yes. Oh yeah. Yeah, it's a striper. Or if that's a sheep, that'd be one of the coolest sheep I ever caught drifting. But I think those marks look real striperish. Yeah, that's a striper. The sheep seem to run slightly differently. Like they'll give you everything they got, and then, you know, you crank 15-20 yards in, they'll give you another run. The stripers will kind of, at least in my experience, will just keep running and running and running. Yeah, that's a striper. Yep. Not a big guy by any means, but I don't want to horse him. That actually would be pretty. Nah, he's gonna be small. I was gonna say he might have been close to that slot size, but look at that. Spit the hook. All right, let's worst thing you could do barefoot, man, is take a sheepshead or a striper fin to the foot. It is one of the worst feelings in the world. Now what's interesting is they'll hit fiddler crabs, they'll hit mud crabs, shedder crabs, any type of crabs, honestly. They're like everything eats crabs type thing. But for whatever reason, if you have sand fleas in the summertime and there's stripers around, like I actually exclusively would not fish with sand fleas in previous summers if I knew I was going to an area that had a lot of stripers. For instance, if I'm just trying to specifically target sheepshead, I probably am not getting sand fleas. They are the easiest bait in my opinion to catch compared to everything else, but problem with them, tog and stripers just can't resist them. Whereas I've caught stripers and tog on fiddlers and Asian shores before, but not as prevalent as if I had sand fleas, if you get what I'm saying.